Hey everyone, thanks for joining me tonight. You're probably like, she looks like her makeup is half done. Do you see what's going on here? I've got these blemishes showing. And so I thought I would teach you. I'm about halfway done getting my makeup redone. And I thought, well, I'm going to show you how to put foundation on and how to cover up something like this. So get your notes. Hopefully you have some of these products at home. But I am just, this was probably like the first thing I knew how to do when I came into Mary Kay. I didn't really know how to wear makeup. I didn't know how to do this eye makeup or anything, but I knew how to cover up a pimple. And then I went to a makeup class and he actually taught us a few more tricks that I didn't know. And since then, you would never know if my face had any blemishes. So if you suffer from acne like I do, first of all, it gets worse once a month for me. And usually I can keep it under control. So when my hormones go a little wacky, the dermatologist told me that when it's right here in the jawline area, this is hormone related. So if your hormones get a little off, that might be what's causing it, or if you get a little stressed or something, so that might cause the breakout. So typically I have to deal with it once a month. And it used to be all the time when I was younger. And I still, as an adult, get acne like I did as a teen. So I really thought you outgrew that, but I guess some of us don't. So anyways, I'm going to start with, let me stop that because that's a little distracting. I'm going to start with, first of all, when I'm putting foundation on, I always use our foundation primer. So this is our foundation primer with sunscreen SPF. Now my moisturizer that I use has sunscreen in it. So that's always on after I wash my face. And then I'm going to put this, I just use a tiny little bit and I kind of move it all around my face. And what it does is it fills in any larger pores and it creates like a smooth surface. So, I'm going to make sure I get it on those pimples because those are uneven surfaces for me. And just really, you don't want to rub too much. So once it feels silky soft, you want to stop. Okay. So I'm going to make sure it's everywhere. Ours has kind of like a chocolatey hint to it, the smell, but it's fragrance free. So that must just be the ingredients. They just smell like chocolate. And who doesn't love that, right? So then I'm going to do foundation. Now, I personally like our 3D matte foundation. This one my color is Ivory W150. Now, the W stands for warm. So I have a warm undertone to my skin because I am Italian and Portuguese. So even though I'm ivory, I have this warm undertone. And if I do go in the sun, I will tan. So you want to make sure that you talk to me if I'm your consultant, or if I'm streaming live into your consultants group, talk to her about what's the right foundation shade, because there's nothing worse. Like you might have the right shade, but the wrong undertone. And then that's where you see those lines, right? So I want to cover all this up and make it even. So our foundation is excellent at covering and evening skin tone. Now we do have products. I'll do another one of these maybe on products that even skin tone, where it's actually fixing the skin. So, we have things like Clinical Solutions, Tone Corrector, all that kind of stuff. So I'll do another one of these on that. And that has more of a long-term effect. And in fact, I'm going to point out, see these horrible blemishes I'm dealing with? They will not leave scars because of the skincare that I'm using. So that is one bonus, right? I've had pimples like this my whole life. And if you look at the rest of my face, I don't have like a lot of scarring and I don't have any of my foundation on yet. Okay, so I just want to point out that because of the skincare and the serums that I do use, I do not have scarring left over from things like this. All right, so these aren't, unfortunately, the first sets I've ever had. And I've gotten pretty good at cleaning them. So I'm going to use my blending brush and squeeze my foundation right on there. Now, I clean mine like once every week. It does this is the end of the week, so it's getting, every Monday I clean it. So it's getting kind of gross. If I had time to clean it more often, I really would, because I feel like it works the best when it's clean. So by the end of the week, it's not, I'm just getting a mirror. It's not as good as it is at the beginning of the week, but it still works. And you can clean yours. If you can do it after each use, you just want to let it dry laying down flat, because you want to make sure it gets fully dry before you pack it away, because you don't want the bristles to get weakened by the water. Okay. So on my forehead, I kind of do this side motion. On my face, I'm going down because we all have little fine hairs and we want them to lie down flat. But you can see as I'm putting on this foundation how it really is making a difference in evening my skin tone, right? Anything that was darker is kind of all, you know, one tone. And I'm going to use a little bit more. So it was only 2 tiny little squirts, and you see I did my whole face. Now I'm going to put it on a little heavier where the blemishes are. And really I'm just using more of like a tapping kind of motion. I want to make sure I have foundation everywhere before I go back and really focus on the areas that I'm providing cover up to. Okay, so the rest of my face, I'm not really hiding anything. I just want it all to look like one. And that's, I think, everybody's goal, right? I don't want to put foundation all down my neck. So when you talk to me, if I'm your consultant, like I said, if you're in my customer group, or if I'm streaming into your consultants group, when you talk to her, you want to make sure you don't have that line there. Okay. So now foundation is pretty much everywhere, and you could see it's a little heavier still right here. So what I do is I just kind of do this tapping, and with my finger, it's going to kind of thin it out a little bit. So it's going to kind of spread it a little bit more. Okay, and I want to make sure that it's even in all the spots. And actually that's pretty good, but I still see the dot, right? You still see that? I still see it. Okay, so sometimes if it's light enough, I can just take a little bit of my foundation. Like this side is pretty light. It's just barely. Looks like a little bite, but it's a pimple. The skincare that I use that really helps get rid of this the fastest is the charcoal mask. So I only did charcoal mask once last week, and then this appeared. So if I just do charcoal, like even later tonight, it should go away. Okay. And like literally like flat the next day. So I do love how instant the products feel that they work sometimes. The next thing though, so I mostly covered it up. Like I look pretty good. I could probably get away with this. Nobody's really gonna, especially when I leave, nobody's gonna see me from here down, but I'll know it's there. So I still like it to look even. So I'm gonna use our perfecting concealer. You too can make a video. I gotta find the camera, right? Okay, so it has this little doe foot applicator, and I am just going to add a little to where the blemishes are. Now concealer conceals, right? So it's anything you want to go away. So there's a little spot I'm working on with my retinol up here, so I might as well cover that up since I'm working on stuff. And then right there. My retinol really has made a difference, but it's not quite gone yet. All right, so once you have the product in the area, I just start tapping. This is called stippling. Just a quick tapping motion to thin out the product. And you don't want to wipe it all away, right? So you need to definitely work. You want to work quickly before the product dries, but you want to tap it out so it's thin, right? Now, by putting a layer of concealer over the foundation, it's going to provide longer coverage. What that means is when there's a pimple there, whether it's popped open or not, it's producing oil because it's in there festering. Anybody that's had a pimple, unfortunately, knows this. And sometimes they hurt, right? So it's going to release oil like throughout the day. So by putting layers of makeup, you're actually creating layers that as the oil comes through the pimple, it's going to break down. And so the makeup having different layers is going to provide more for it to have to break through for anyone to see it. So this is how my makeup lasts all day. All right. and I don't really touch up. So now it's pretty much hidden. Like I know right where to look. You know to look because I pointed it out to you, right? All right. Now my last layer. This is what makes it look more normal. Like I think I look very pale right now, so I do need to add some color. So I'm going to use our mineral powder. Now, if you don't need any more coverage, you can get away with just using the translucent loose powder. That's going to help absorb oil, right? That's the purpose of the powder, is to absorb the oil so it doesn't break through the layer, right? I just talked about how the pimple is constantly producing oil. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of powder in. What I usually do is put it like in the lid. And then I take my powder brush and I pick it up with the side and kind of splotch the powder on my face. Now what this does is it gives it a chance to connect to the wet makeup before I dust it everywhere and have to dust my shirt. I don't usually wear a black shirt when I'm getting ready. Should have thought about that probably. Since I'm on camera, I put clothes on, but usually I'm in my towel when I do my makeup. But I wanted to do this in front of you, so I made sure I was dressed. Okay, so this is PG. Anybody can watch. All right, so once it's like kind of splotched all over my face, now you might not be able to see it because I don't know how great my camera is, but I would just want to just so it looks even. Another nice thing about having my eye makeup done before I did all this is there's no fallout here because my powder and everything went on after. But I did not do my mascara yet because, you know, powder would stick in that. Okay, so how's that look? Hopefully I've got lots of likes and thumbs up and comments right now because this is how you cover up, right? So if you have something you want to cover up, that's how you do it. You want to layer your coverage. And our mineral powder is the best. You can wear it by itself and it provides coverage. However, when I have something like that, I need to wear my foundation, my concealer, and then my mineral powder. And that is my tips and tricks for covering up any kind of blemishes. And then come back next week and learn about the serums that will take care of the scarring so that you don't, when you have something like that happen, you don't have the scar left behind as a reminder. Okay, thanks for joining me tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday.